Welcome to Coding: Emerging Trends in Education by Elizabeth Montana-Espinoza. This is my MARP project. What is coding? Coding refers to a list of rules written in one of numerous programming languages that instructs a computer to do what a user wants it to do, such as perform a sequence of instructions, repeat a sequence of instructions, and test whether a sequence was performed correctly. Coding is what makes it possible for us to create computer software, apps, and websites. What can you use it for? Well, learning coding empowers you to do many things you wouldn't otherwise be able to do, whether you're looking for a career in the industry, starting a new hobby, or just wanting to understand technology. You can benefit from learning coding. Here's a few things you can do with it. Make your own website, become a career coder, a computer programmer, start a business such as a software product or a web business, or understand how computers work. Coding languages. There are thousands of coding languages in existence today. Coding languages aren't like our languages. There are no vocabularies or alphabets. They're more like codes, such as special commands, abbreviations, and ways of arranging text. All software is written in some kind of coding language, and every coding language is unique, designed with a certain operating system, platform, coding style, and intended use in mind. Some examples include JavaScript, which is used for websites, Python, which is used to write scientific and numerical software, SQL, which interacts with databases, PHP, which links databases, and HTML, Ruby, which powers sites like Twitter, C, C++, C#, which are all used for Windows platforms, and Java, which is used for Android apps, and there's a host of others as well.
Hi, this is Elizabeth from KTED television station, and I wanted to go over why coding is important. According to NMC's Horizon Report for 2017, many educators believe that coding helps children to understand how computers work, to communicate their thoughts through structure and logic, to think critically, and to be successful in the increasingly digital workplace. Further evidence from Code.org recently stated that computing occupations are among the fastest growing and best paying jobs in the United States, and that there are currently 500,000 unfilled jobs in that sector. To better prepare learners from a young age, an increasing number of school leaders and technologists are making the case for embedding coding into K-12 curriculum. Let's go to some field research that I conducted. Hi, this is Elizabeth from KTED television, and I'm here with Jake. He's a fourth grader, and we're going to talk today about coding. And I have some questions for you, Jake. The first one is, do you know what coding is?
Yeah, I do. It's a program where you can make games, apps, computer websites, and stuff that people do every day, like play video games, play like Call of Duty.
Okay, great. And have you learned coding before?
Yes, I learned it at my school.
So which school is that?
Loving Savior.
And how did you learn coding? Where did this take place? How did you learn it?
I went to the computer lab. My teacher told us to go on to Hour of Code, and we went on to that, and it was a lot of fun.
Great, so you enjoyed it, right? And why do you think that it's important to learn code as a student?
Because when you learn coding, it makes your brain think more, and you can learn a lot from it.
Great. So what else would you like to learn with coding or try with coding?
Maybe make a video game, computer website. I don't know.
Okay, well, that sounds great. I hope you get to learn those things, and thank you for sharing your time with us today. Let's listen to the experts. Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web, says learning to code gives you a completely new perspective when you look at a computer. Before, you might think of it as an appliance. After that, you know you can code that computer to do anything you can imagine it doing. Brad Smith, the president of Microsoft, says we need a generation that has grown up with computing devices to lead the way in coding, to start small but dream big, to have fun, to start businesses, to improve people's lives and change the world. Stephen Hawking says whether you want to uncover the secrets of the universe or you want to just pursue a career in the 21st century, basic computer programming is an essential skill to learn. Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, says we believe that coding should be a required language in all schools. Eric Schmidt, executive chairman of Google, says for the most people on Earth, the digital revolution hasn't even started yet. Within the next 10 years, all that will change. Let's get the whole world coding.
In other words, I think the greatest value of learning I think everybody in this country should learn how to program a computer. Should learn a computer language because it teaches you how to think. It's like going to law school. I don't think anybody should be a lawyer, but I think going to law school would actually be useful because it teaches you how to think in a certain way. In the same way that computer programming teaches you in a slightly different way how to think. And so I view computer science as a liberal art.
How do you learn how to code as an adult? According to the Muse website, nowadays knowing how to code isn't just for software engineers and developers unless you want to land a career in those fields. But for everyone else, there's plenty of reasons why you should learn how to code. For example, it can teach you enough to mock up a very basic website design or an app that you might have an idea for, or it can impress the hiring manager. It shows that you understand current trends. The webpage includes 10 free classes on learning how to code, and they're in my reference section. Next, Code Conquest has a free online guide to coding for beginners. If you're someone who wants to learn about coding but don't know where to start, the site has a step-by-step information. You'll be pleased to learn that you don't need to spend a fortune on higher education if you want to become a coder. You can get as full of a coding education from the many specialized training websites, quality books, and cheap classes that exist these days. How can you teach students to code? A great way to start is by visiting code.org, which is a nonprofit dedicated to expanding access to computer science and increasing participation by women and underrepresented minorities. They believe that every student should have the opportunity to learn computer science just like biology, chemistry, or algebra. Code.org organizes an annual Hour of Code campaign, which has reached about 10% of students in the world for K-12 computer science. They have generous donors, which include Microsoft, Facebook, and Google. Let's go to the code.org website and see what they have. There's a full course catalog, so you can find full courses for grades K through 5, grades 6 through 12, or University Plus. There's also Hour of Code if you don't have time for a full-length course, and it includes things like Minecraft, Star Wars, Frozen, Classic Maze, and other things that interest students. So where do you go after the Hour of Code? There's also a link to Beyond an Hour of Code, where students of all ages from kindergarten through university level can click on more online tutorials such as learning JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and creating apps for their iPad. Also here, teachers can participate in professional learning workshops free of charge. Let's check out the Beyond an Hour of Code website here, link. This includes online tutorials for all ages. So there's a code.org for beginners. Khan Academy has a learning programming JavaScript program, learning how to do apps for phones and tablets for young kids, other programming languages, creating your own apps or games for your iPad, and university level stuff. Why is coding an important emerging trend? Per NMC Horizon Report for 2017, computer science remains one of the fastest growing industries across the world, and preparing the future workforce is critical for economic success. Coding literacy is becoming increasingly necessary across all industries, as fields including data analysis, marketing, web development, and more require some form of coding proficiency. At a minimum, non-tech related fields require some coding knowledge to understand the tasks of other departments so that employees can more effectively work with their colleagues. The App Association states that the current demand for coding far outpaces supply in the U.S. Nearly 250,000 jobs for software developers remain unfilled. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report states that the world is at a beginning of the fourth industrial revolution, requiring new skill sets since 65% of children entering school today will work in jobs that currently do not exist. They predict that between 2015 and 2020, there will be a total gain of 2 million jobs in STEM-related fields. Thank you for your time. Here are the list of references and links for my presentation. This was written, narrated, produced, and edited by Elizabeth Montana-Espinoza.